Trump tweeted the United States is open for business. He's still 46 days from his inauguration, and Trump is continuing to take early steps to enact his America First policy. So are his proposals for our economy and foreign relations smart and realistic? We have a Trump supporter, Representative Darrell Issa, a Republican from California. He is on the Judiciary and Foreign Affairs committees. Congressman, good to see you.
Good to see you, Chris.
Do you have any reason to believe that what we just saw with Taiwan and now these tweets about China are part of a thought-out plan to somehow triangulate that situation? Do you have any insight for us?
I do. This is not just a plan, but an execution. Remember that President Obama had a pivot to Asia, but that didn't do anything. China continued to build those islands, clearly plans to militarize them, has a space military program. So when you look at one of your most important pre-presidential meetings to be with the leader of Japan, who is deeply concerned about China's expansion, and taking a courtesy call from the leader of Taiwan, again, some would say provocative, but let's understand what he's doing is part of a pivot to rebalancing China to stop its expansion in a way that our next Secretary of State is going to have to do every single day.
All right, so two questions. First, you said taking a courtesy call from the president of Taiwan. The reporting of the Washington Post is it wasn't a courtesy call, that this was something that had been thought out days or maybe weeks in advance. Are you saying that's not true, that it was spontaneous, or was this something that was planned, if you know?
Donald Trump has taken calls from most of the leaders and a few visits. He's limited his visits. They have a different impact and effect. But very clearly, there's about 185 heads of state and a lot of other people high up in foreign governments who want to have a word to congratulate Donald Trump, to build a relationship if they didn't already have one. You know, the substantive meetings he's had with, before the election, with Bibi Netanyahu and al-Sisi of Egypt. These are all part of building important relations with important allies or, in some cases, with countries that we may have to go head-to-head on the world stage with.
But Taiwan is different, right? I mean, especially as it is vis-a-vis China and the one China policy that the United States has embraced for decades.
Chris,
that's why I'm asking you if it was, in fact, as the Washington Post says, something that was planned, or was it a courtesy call? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I think it was both. But let's go.
Can it be both? A courtesy call means that it came out of nowhere. The administration didn't know it was coming.
No. Chris, as you know, courtesy calls are scheduled at the presidential level. People don't just call Donald Trump on the phone. The fact, though, is that both the Bush and Clinton, W. Bush and Clinton administrations began with faux pas in the China Strait. They began with mistakes, in one case forcing the fleet to move to be repositioned. There have been mistakes early on by presidents, but this wasn't a mistake. This was part of saying, I think candidly and appropriately to China, that this is an American leader, this is an American president, and he's going to be a world leader in a different way than his predecessor. He's not a world president and a world leader. He is an American president and world leader.
Okay, a couple other beats this morning for you. This seems to be getting a little out of control on the political level. I want to see if you're willing to just own a mistake and kind of move forward in this one aspect of this political debate here, that you have Mike Pence on with George Stephanopoulos, and he seemed to get caught in the old kind of tug of war between your right to an opinion but not your own facts. Let me just play it for you.
It's his right to make false statements?
Well, it's his right to express his opinion as a president-elect of the United States. I think one of the things that's refreshing about our president-elect, it's one of the reasons why I think he made such an incredible connection with people all across this country, is because he tells you what's on his mind.
And that's fine, but we both know that millions of people did not vote illegally in this country. We're not parsing. I'm not saying it was close, but you shouldn't say millions. It's nowhere close. It's a gross exaggeration. It's a falsehood. That's not an opinion, Congressman. Was it right for Donald Trump to say millions of people voted illegally?
In every congressional district in America, especially those that don't have any kind of ID, people do vote illegally.
Millions of people, Congressman.
Chris, you know, one of the problems the press had with President-elect Trump was they didn't take him seriously, but they wanted to go into minutia about what he said.
Millions is not minutia. I get you. I get what you're saying. I understand. Selena Zito works on our staff. I get that we took him literally, not seriously, and people took him seriously, not literally. I get it. It's not about beating up the press. I'm saying millions is not a handful, is not dozens, it's millions. It sends a message to the American people that we had a huge problem, and it's false.
Chris, we do have huge problems in getting elections accurate and quickly and getting them believed by the American people.
So you believe that millions of people voted illegally? You believe that?
I'm gonna hold you to your facts. You said dozens or handfuls. We all know out of 320 million Americans, it wasn't dozens or handfuls.
No, we don't know that. We know that there have been many studies done, Congressman, and that's an exaggeration, what I just said. They came up with smaller numbers than that. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt in this analysis. The studies that have been done for months and years by respected outfits come nowhere close. Dozens.
I love you, but you're in fact talking about dozens and saying out of 320 million Americans, it is a lot more than dozens.
How do you know?
In my own state, in my own election, I had a pair of ballots where obviously a spouse voted their dead husband. The fact is, illegal voting goes on. The question really is, are we going to restore confidence? You had a third-party candidate with no chance at all of being significant, demand recounts, and if she'd gotten enough money, I guess she would have done it.
But look at the position you put yourself in. You got Jill Stein asking for a recount, and I get your political opposition to that.
No, it's not political opposition, Chris. Chris, I love you, but you know, you have to remember, it's about bringing confidence back to the voting process.
But then why would you say millions of people voted illegally?
I will tell you why, Chris.
That doesn't bring confidence back, does it?
Chris, if you let me answer.
Please go ahead, Congressman.
The fact is that we need to get a system that the American people believe in. In California, do you believe voters really believe when they show up at the voting booth and get told to put their ID away, they're not allowed to look at it? When they realize that you can have same-day balloting with no proof, that you can have 50 people living at a single residence. I'm not saying whether there's millions or your underestimation of a handful. The fact
I'm just going with what the study said.
We need to bring a absolute form of confidence, and states have been trying to do that, and this president has been fighting. President Obama has been fighting against the kinds of things that would build confidence back into our voting system. And oh, by the way, we need to bring our voting system to be faster. I didn't have a recount, but it took 21 days to call an election, and they then counted afterwards. We need to modernize the system. We need to make it accurate and believed by the American people. And that's all Donald Trump is getting America thinking about. And I think that's a good thing. And again, you show me a study after this that says handfuls.
I will. I'll send you several.
Handfuls is a number that you can count on a few hands. Handful is not hundreds of thousands.
I'll send you several studies on this because I will return the love that you have for me by giving you the information. Because if we want accuracy in the system, we should start with how we describe that system as well. But Congressman Issa, always a pleasure to have you on the show to make the case.
My pleasure, too.
Thank you, sir.